During Week 4 of Stage 3, the Seoul Dynasty and the Chengdu Hunters fought an exceptionally long battle on Paris. The teams battled back and forth, making it all the way to round 3. The Hunters looked poised to full hold the Dynasty on point A after wiping half the team with just 10 seconds remaining. For Seoul, it was a near impossible situation to come back from, but with a couple of last-second hero swaps and a chain of clutch plays, Seoul made one of the most unlikely teamfight comebacks of all time. Going into the third attack round, Seoul Dynasty only had a minute to cap point A. To do so, they had to get through the high damage poke of the Chengdu Hunters. As Seoul pushed the point, Chengdu's damage became a big problem. Hailey got caught by Yang Shuolong early, but the team pressed on without him. Hailey wouldn't be the only victim though, as Jexa got picked off shortly after, when Seoul had already pushed halfway to the point. Seoul's best chance to win the teamfight was to back out and regroup, but with so little time remaining and the Chengdu players closing in, retreat was not an option. Chengdu, looking to close the round, cornered the Dynasty in the back room with Jinmu's barrage and wiped half the team. With less than 10 seconds left, the round looked hopeless for Seoul. To even stand a shot, they needed to trigger overtime, buy time for the team to respawn, and somehow clean the Chengdu Hunters off point A. Cue the epic music. After the team got caught by Jinmu's barrage in the hallway, Michelle actually managed to make it out, thanks to some clutch healing from Hailey. With Michelle getting help from Hailey, it was all on Jexa to hit the point to trigger overtime. To trigger overtime, an attacking player needs to touch the point within 3 seconds of the time expiring. Luckily for Seoul, Jexa respawned and got to the point just in time. Triggering overtime was just step 1 for Seoul. Step 2 was to extend it long enough for Fitz, Marvel and Fleder to all make it back from spawn. With Jexa dead, Michelle was the man for the job. Michelle had to fly in by himself and tank all of Chengdu's damage for as long as possible. Luckily for Michelle, Hailey's Nano Boost came online right before he flew in. Since Nano Boost reduces the damage you take by 50%, Michelle's survival time was essentially doubled. And when you're trying to stall, every millisecond counts. As Michelle flew in to contest the point, Jinmu jumped right onto the lonely Ana. Without Michelle there to protect him, Hailey was in trouble. As Jinmu unloaded his rockets onto Hailey, the duel looked terrible for the Ana. But in a massive outplay, Hailey outdueled the Pharah in the point-blank fight and made his way back outside to help his teammates. Meanwhile, Michelle was still extending overtime on the point and stalling for Marvel to roll in on the wrecking ball. At the very moment Michelle got demech'd, Marvel barreled in and knocked Damon off the point, taking yet another Chengdu player out of the fight. As if that wasn't clutch enough, Fleder found a massive pick of his own to seal the comeback for the Seoul Dynasty. With so many squishy targets in Chengdu's comp and the point so far away from spawn, switching from Brigitte to Widowmaker gave Fleder the best opportunity to make high-impact plays from a distance. After rushing out of spawn, Fleder scoped in to spot one of the hardest targets for a Widowmaker to hit, a Mercy in her Valkyrie form. Her increased movement speed makes headshots near impossible to hit, and her constant health regeneration makes body shots much less effective, unless she gets hit multiple times in a row. But this is Fleder we're talking about. With the Mercy dead, the tables had turned for the Seoul Dynasty. They may have started the fight from a huge disadvantage, but in the span of just 1 second, they scored 3 miraculous kills and completely flipped the fight. Now Chengdu were in desperation mode. Elsa covered the point with his molten core to keep Seoul away, but Marvel rolled straight through it to knock yet another Chengdu player off the map before being taken down himself. By this point, Seoul only had Elsa and Kyo to deal with on point. Fitz hopped over the molten core to take down Elsa before getting traded by Kyo, Chengdu's last man standing. To finish it all, Jexa sent Kyo flying off the map, securing one of the most unlikely teamfight comebacks in Overwatch League history.
Unbelievable that this could potentially go this way.